Welcome back everyone to Let's Play Rule the Waves as the United States episode number 19. We spent an entire episode doing almost nothing but redesigns and looking at design technology, but I think we answered a few questions, or I hope. We talked a little bit about this machinery replacement stuff. We did end up scrapping the older ships. I think some of the things which I haven't gone into detail about in the last few series, we went into detail about this. So we also learned about the destroyers, well, non-capital ships being able to blockade. So now, our top spy has managed to get hold of the plans for the latest French improved 8-inch guns. That's useful only in that it might eliminate one of the possible naval gun research technologies we get. And, okay, wait a second, and because we do have a ship with one 8-inch gun, this is how the game goes. You only get technology which is better immediately after you send your ships for a refit, which means you have to send them for another refit. But yeah, as I said, and that's a refit we'll absolutely need to do because we just made those ships pretty much our endgame light cruiser, even though it's also our legacy light cruiser. So, wow. So, the rebels in Ireland have defeated the British forces. Ireland is now free of the British yoke. We're losing quite a lot of money per month, but remember that we have a lot of ships that will be finishing pretty quickly, so I'm not too worried about that. We're going to have that back up on track very soon, and we're just waiting for a few key technologies. Yes. This not being one of them, but it's a good one to have anyway. We're waiting for a few key technologies before we can build our last, well, not last, probably penultimate dreadnought design. I assume that we'll get another dreadnought, then another battlecruiser, and then probably one final dreadnought. That final dreadnought might be a combination dreadnought battlecruiser. It might be like a dreadnought which goes 25 or something like that, which keeps it, it's kind of, well, it basically becomes a battleship at that point. The new battleships, like the World War II style battleships once again. France has stolen stuff. We don't really care about going to war with France. Like, if we take a look at the map, we've acquired all the French holdings in Southeast Asia. We're really looking to go to war with Germany or the United Kingdom. And the United Kingdom has the benefit, if we go to war with them, I'm saying, that would have the benefit of allowing us to take territory on the East Coast, the Caribbean, although we haven't been getting those events, the invasion events. So that's a little disappointing, but I'm also thinking of making a really cheap strategic destroyer to test this theory of, we should be able to make these things extremely cheap right now. If we do auto-generate, actually just clear, and I'm going to make my own. Oh, okay. If you start me at that much, we're going to go down to the smallest ship we can. We'll just make this 17, which I think is the cheapest you can go without increasing horsepower. See, horsepower doubles. Oh, actually, it goes up from 15 to 16 as well. And we have to have at least one torpedo tube. So we will get one. And we probably have to have at least one 2-inch gun, I'm imagining. Let's get one. How is this looking? Aha. Let us go up to 20 then. Is this okay? Question, do we need a gun? No, we don't. Can we get the 2-inch gun though? Does it matter? Let's look at the cost as well, $591. It adds a little bit. We can get it with our 200-ton limit though. Short. We might as well make these reliable. We'd have nothing else to do. Coal does decrease the cost a bit. It's not worth it. I think we'll just leave it as oil firing. And rounds per gun apparently, eventually do increase the cost. It's good to know. Okay, so this is a bare bones. We can make it long range even. Extreme. It's perfect. And if you think about it, that's exactly what we want from this ship, because it's going to go to distant areas and blockade, right? So if this thing gets caught in a battle, unfortunately, it's dead. But it's extremely cheap. I wonder if I save this as a design, let's call it, I don't know what to call it. The blockader. It is really meant to do exactly this. No, it's actually also meant to invade. So the invader. Invader sounds better than blockader. Okay, so let's just save this as the invader class. You know what? It's not. It's yeah. Okay, let's just save it. Let's pretend we're gonna build it. It cost 675. Where does that stack up with the rest of my new Cunningham is a lot more expensive. But let's look at the other ships. Are any of these close to the same cost? Like the sandwich class, 1.6. So yeah, this is a really nice, cheap 1-point ship. The maintenance cost will be 5,000. That's probably the sandwich as well. Oh no, the sandwich was 10,000. So that's the cheapest maintenance cost I think you can get. The Minesweeper itself, 5,000. Yeah, so we can get a whole bunch of these. In fact, these can pretty much replace our Minesweeper as well. We don't really need Minesweepers. Minesweepers do have the advantage. One, okay, looks like they're cheaper still because of the engines, I'm sure. But they also have the ability to clear mines from areas, which can be beneficial. So somebody was mentioning this, and let me do it right now while I remember. It is good to position some of these in different zones. So we should do like, okay, let's say this many. Let's say this many go to the West Coast, and then some amount of them go to the Caribbean as well. Since those are all friendly, build zones, home zones. They shouldn't have any maintenance issues. We can also, okay, let's get, this is a little bit skewed. We're gonna have 18 there. I do want the most there. Get one more, well, maybe 2 more to go to the Caribbean. So I think that gives us like 18, 12, 13, something like that for our distribution, which is a little bit better. Okay, so that's 12, 13, 18. Yeah. Good. That's better distribution. When we build new ones, they'll go to the East Coast by default, but that's fine. I don't care if all of them stay there. We'll at least be protecting those 3 sea zones. I'm not even sure if it's really like that. I don't really know what Minesweepers do, how they're... We don't really know the underlying game mechanics. We don't know what's under the hood. So, but let's keep pushing forward, because I'm sure that something interesting can happen during this episode. Okay, good. We finally have, this is the double... No, wait, this just eliminates rate of fire penalty for guns below 8 inches. Not what I wanted. I think that doesn't... That actually means we have to rebuild a lot of things. Anything with... single turrets might be okay. Anything with double turrets. But could we even build double turrets? I thought not. I don't know. We should probably rebuild everything just in case. Just a quick rebuild. Let's wait for something which matters to rebuild them with at the same time. Do we care if the Japanese have improved director? That's like the one thing I don't like to sell to people, because it is like... accuracy is the most important stat, I feel like, on a ship. It doesn't matter how thick your armor is if you can't hit someone. But this is not a binary hit versus not hitting decision. This is just an incremental improvement. They have to refit all their ships. We do get a little bit of money. Hey, for the first time in a very long time, we actually have a budget which is I mean, I just talked about how it's not really a concern, but at least it's getting down there. I do want to go to war with Japanese, but I mean, you know what? We'll even let them fight on an even playing field because I'm pretty sure we'll just massacre them. So I'm not too worried about it. So this is a new British dreadnought. I have a hard time believing that. It's only 18,000 tons. Speaking of massacring, we would definitely massacre this thing. Pretty similar to our, which one was it? The von Steuben? So this is 18,000, 10, 10 and a half. 24,000, 12, 12 and a half. So similar. It is similar. We have like significantly more and higher caliber secondary guns, but aside from those two things, they're similar. If you put them head to head, we'd expect the von Steuben to come out ahead, but it'd be a pretty fair fight otherwise. Oh wow, we're getting a lot of these easily surpassing her design speed decisions, which is fantastic. This is the Cunningham that was just delivered. This is my endgame destroyer, so I'm pretty happy that she's actually faster than what we expected. And a lot of ships being finished, we're going to be fine on budget after this, I believe. Wow, they really just all finished there. Everything finished at the same time. Okay, the new light cruiser, they have 5 6-inch guns. No super firing. This is not the super firing configuration. Possibly super firing rear, I don't know. But 311, that's really low on turret armor. But they do have 4 torpedoes each side. Look, I would say this. It's something to be concerned about, especially from a torpedo standpoint. Head to head, we should defeat it. And there's our monthly balance right back up. Excuse me real fast. Let me make sure my mic is, it looks like it's in pretty decent shape. Let me move it around a little bit more. Hopefully not ruin everything. There. Okay. The next turn. So we had a few more finish. The Italians can buy whatever they want. We'll take their money for sure. We don't expect to fight them. We don't want to fight them. Yeah, so we want to fight. It's kind of works out according to plan. The intel effort we're putting in that's pretty much the only knob we have besides these random events to tweak tensions, and it does look like it works out that way. The exception here being Italy, for some reason, is going up, even though our intel efforts with them are none. Okay, so how many Cunninghams did we build? Was it 14? 18. Okay, good. I mean, that's a good amount. Have the old New Havens, which are still a good ship in terms of torpedoes. The Bennies, which are good in terms of guns. Haven't really got to use those yet to test out their usefulness. I really hope we are able to before the end of the game, but that is up to random chance, unfortunately. One of our cruisers run aground, a minor nation, demand they release the ship, definitely. Yeah, we'll do this. Wow. The game is really trying to play tricks on me. I think that of the higher caliber guns, 15-inch guns are the worst. It's just an unfortunate part of their rate of fire. However, they've given us quality 1 15-inch guns. And it's really hard to turn down a quality 1 gun. If we were to do a comparison now, I think we opened up test, right? Test, temp. Open. Yeah, so if we compare the gun data here, let me make sure. I did have a few things off the screen. I'll try to be more mindful of that in the last episode, I'm saying. So yeah, we have 16-inch guns, 12.3, 5.7 for the 25,000 mark, and 29,000 is the max range. Well, it's only 11 5.7. The 5.7 stays the same, but what was it, 12.7 or 12.3 or something? And slightly higher max range. So 11 5.7, let me just really focus on remembering that. 11 to 12.3, yeah. So otherwise, same dropping. Was it deck penetration? Which is what you'd expect to be using at 25,000 anyway. Now the one area where this is not impacting us, the one statistic I guess I have to bring up that's not being shown here is the fact that the 16-inch guns do a lot more damage. So, well, that's something to consider. But look how much saving in terms of tonnage we have. 1,400. Is it worth it? If we're landing so many... I mean, this is basically... I could see myself using the quality 115-inch guns for a battlecruiser. But we don't want another battlecruiser right on the heels of the Lightning class, which is already probably the best battlecruiser in the world. Let's take a look at the Almanac. We haven't done that for a while. We have... we're pretty far behind the British in terms of dreadnoughts. Way far behind, but that's because we want to build one next. We're about where we should be in terms of battlecruisers, which also are good battlecruisers. I mean, you can talk about our strength in dreadnoughts being even lower than what appears here, which is, I guess, measured in the total tonnage. Because we have 2 von Steuben's, which are not very useful, and then the 5 Philippines are not like... I mean, they're very effective, okay. I'm not too worried about bringing the Philippines in. They should hold their own against anybody in the world for the rest of the game. They won't be like the elite ultimate ship, but, you know, like I said, 14-inch guns at least, so they'll be able to do some damage. But we're up against nations, I mean specifically the British, with 20 dreadnoughts. And it looks like they're making some kind of endgame ship. They have 4 more, which if we do the math real fast, looks like... do we just call that 30? Yeah, let's just call that 30. 130,000 for 4 means... Well, I guess it's only around 35. So that's not as big as I thought. 35,000 tons. Well, it just means it's about equivalent to my Philippines. What's their max dock size? 46, so much higher than what they're using. 44, 46. Yeah, everyone has endgame dock sizes. Okay. Let's go down to armored cruisers. Well, we got rid of ours, and the rest of the world has as well. So that looks like it was a good decision. Some of these might be actually the heavy cruisers, no longer the armored cruisers, the modern CAs. Light cruiser-wise, I think we're in good shape there. Destroyer-wise, we're a little bit over, but with torpedoes, I think that these are a good investment. And then minesweepers, we're always way, way, way up, but that's because we use them as a cheap unit in order to protect coastal waters and do ASW. Submarines, we're actually extremely far behind in. I just haven't taken any time to invest in that. I'd rather invest in, we can invest in those, we have the money to do it, but I'd rather invest in a big heavy dreadnought. As soon as we get the double turrets, can we do the double turrets yet? That's one thing I didn't check. We did get that one technology. Let's open it again, because sometimes it's a little wonky. You can see something changed. So can we do this yet? We can. Okay, so that was probably the technology we needed in order to be able to do double turrets, which is going to be a little bit helpful in terms of weight savings. Speed of 21, 11, 3, 9, 13. This all looks really good. Improved director, 16. Oh yeah, but this is the question now. We have this 16-inch gun question. If we get 17-inch guns, I will find a way to make 17-inch guns work. By the way, did we get... I didn't notice if we had gotten rate of fire decrease for quadruple turrets yet. We got quadruple turrets, but not... Excuse me, no, this is off the screen. Not the improved rate of fire for them yet. Okay, that's... Well, we don't need that. We can always refit that. Okay, this is good. Fleet tactics. And it looks like we're going to war with Germany. So let's go back to the Almanac and see what are we exactly up against. Okay, that's not scary at all. I don't see any ships. Well, I see 2 ships only over 30,000 tons. We'll be relying on the Lightning class to take care of these 2, the Graf Spee and the Victoria Luis. We have the Elsass class, which is a relic. We have a whole bunch of different classes here, actually, even though they probably are all more or less the same ship. Well, they only have two ships with 14-inch guns, the Schleswig-Holstein, and that is 12 14-inch guns, so that is about comparable with my Philippines. 13, 14-inch guns versus 12, 14-inch guns. So the von Steubens actually have met their match, which we're not too surprised. The von Steubens are really old. They met their match in these against the Germans. Get busy building or get busy dying. We're getting good research in, but none of the technologies I really care about. Do we have 3-inch guns? Probably on the minesweepers. We won't upgrade them. In fact, what I'll do is I'll upgrade one, just so that when I build new minesweepers, they take advantage of the higher quality guns. But, I mean, this... I mean, actually, it doesn't even cost that much. We don't expect... These actually could be in fights, though. That's only if an enemy chooses to raid us, though, and that's... Oh yeah, another reason why these minesweepers are better than those strategic destroyers is they have armor. I forgot about that. Those are good. So, they're always that cheap tactic minesweeper that we're able to get in. Mine lane submarine, yes. Sure, why not? We should take money, even though we're rich, we should take money as much as possible because we want to build more of this dreadnought, whatever it is, whenever we get it. Yes, excellent. Oh, this could go poorly. See, they're still giving me technologies I don't really want, and we're about to go to war. Does anybody else need to be refit? Oh, yes. Before I forget, yes. The Grand Rapids. We have to refit all of them with the better 8-inch guns. And luckily for us, there's nothing else. Oh, it's another 8 months. It wouldn't have been, it would have fit into the 10-month refit period if we, wow, anyway. It's the way the cookie crumbles. So, is there any other changes we want to make? Well, no, because we're not going to mess around with anything. Okay, so this is fine. It'll be expensive, but these will be very darn good ships. 8 more months. Can we hold out? No, I think we'll be at war before then. But that's okay. I didn't even put ships on reserve fleet this time. That might have been a bit of a mistake, but the only ones I really would put on reserve fleet, I think, are the von Steubens. Because I don't expect them to be fighting. I guess I could have put, like, the Galvestons on. This is a class I'm not particularly fond with. I would rather scrap this than the Grand Rapids. Got a lot of money coming in. We have to build this ship soon. This is interesting. New government wants to reduce... They just had a hawkish government. The government switches in the US right now are just like crazy. Tension up might put us at war. Try to get the proposal watered down. Let's do this. Eek! We're almost there. So let's start deploying ships then. Or at least getting our fleets together. So we can deploy them where we want. We're in good shape, I think, already. My goodness. It's an easier way of doing that. We're in good shape already in Southeast Asia and Northeast Asia. Let's confirm that. We have Kaohsiung Bay. Small value. Should be able to take it. Does have a battery. Then we have the Bismarck, Northern Marianas, and the Caroline Islands. There's the Bismarck Archipelago. These should be pretty easy to take, I assume. I mean, we should be running all over the Germans in Southeast Asia. What do we have in Southeast Asia right now, though? We have a bunch of destroyers and light cruisers. Okay, let's do it. Let's build this cheap invader class by the buckets. Just build them by the buckets and just throw them in and let's see what happens. So this is 36 points. This is 48. Oh, my wrist is going to hurt when these finish. That's a pretty compelling reason not to do this. So we'll get 60 of them. That's 60 points that we can put into a sea region. It barely impacted our budget. If you're a naysayer, if you're opposed to this plan, just know that the financial investment is pretty minor for this strategy. It's probably better to... Well, actually, we don't want to build submarines because we don't want to raid. We actually don't want to cause governments to collapse until we invade. In some weird way. Okay, so otherwise we have Mount Rainiers in the Caribbean with the von Steuben's, the Philippines and the northeast coast. The Great Lakes is, yeah, pretty good ship. Better in fleet battles, I honestly think. The light cruiser we have, the Grand Rapids, is probably better in one-on-one engagements. So we can send her as kind of a raider. We won't, because raiding, again, I'm not going to prioritize that, but then we have the Farragut, which is just supposed to add points. So basically this is like an obsolete version of, well, I mean, it still has plenty of destroyer torpedoes. If we get into a fleet engagement with the Farragut, she can actually still do some damage. 3 torpedoes on either side, and then 2 left on the other if we launch all 3 in the first on the first side. I'm afraid the Benny is probably just becoming more and more obsolete, despite the fact that she has this 4. Oh, she has a 4-gun broadside. That's still pretty good, even though they're only 4-inch guns. 0 armor is 0 armor, so it's just a matter of how fast you can do damage, though. 5-inch guns obviously more damaging than 4. Yeah, I don't really know how to shift my fleet. I feel like what we'll end up doing is... Well, let's take a look at where the Germans have ships. Germany has very little in Northeast Asia. Oh, I mean, we don't have very much there either. And they have light cruisers. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's move the Bennies, all the Bennies, into Northeast Asia. And we'll move the Farraguts just into Southeast Asia. We won't do that yet. Let's see if I can remember it next turn. Okay, no, I really don't care. Still don't care. Wait one more turn. Oh boy. Alright, well this is going to seal the deal, isn't it? That weight savings is going to help the next Dreadnought as well. Okay, let's get the Farraguts out into Southeast Asia. That's the wrong place. There we go. How are the other ones doing? They have made it. Fantastic. Okay, so yeah, this is great. By the way, are we still upgrading base size over here? This base is just huge, 200. Actually, significantly more than what we need. We haven't upgraded the Philippines in a while, but yeah, okay, 300. Wait, yeah, 304 is just a lot as well. So we don't really need to upgrade bases except for, well, I mean, in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sea zones we control, we don't need to upgrade those bases. Okay, let's push on. Oh, let's build railroads because I think this has a long-term increase. So let's do that. This has a unrest modifier, I've been told, but this has like a long-term unrest modifier, but this has a long-term budget modifier, so we'll take that. And there it is. War and convoy defense. Can this be? Okay, well, we'll fight one more, and then we'll call this episode to a close. So we got the battle we wanted. Oh my god, who the heck? Who do we have here? This is the new one, isn't it? No, it's the New Haven. Well, the Farragut is the Farragut. Wait, what the hell? Oh yeah, the Farraguts are spread all over. So this is what we would call a disposable fleet. And we actually do have the new 5... Oh my, this is crazy. The only ship which we don't have here, which I'd really like to have, is the Benny class. I really want to, you know, poor Rage Boat, Rage Quit, whatever. and his gunboat destroyers. I gave him finally a gunboat class, and then we try to move them where the other destroyers are, get them into the action. And I don't know if it's going to happen. Okay, anyways, let's just advance until we spot the enemy. And then we'll get these guys to move into line ahead. Actually, yeah, let's go line ahead. We'll just have them be support. Do we control these? We may not. We don't. We can kind of do it. I think you can do little cheaty things. Same way you can do it normally. So we only have 3 destroyers versus... If we only see 1 ship, well, it's not the best sign. Could be a light cruiser, in which case we're really going to have a hard time. 35 knots, my god. Okay, that's 2. That's a little bit better. Okay, good, good. Oh. Well, let's hope that's a misidentification. It's a misidentification. They definitely don't. So we're going to sacrifice our New Haven class. I mean, they're decent enough. Fleet combat vessel. Slow you guys down to 32 as well. Look at all we have to do is keep these guys from reaching their target, which is the merchant ships. Now, what are these? These are 3-inch guns. 4 3-inch guns. 1, 2, 3, 4. They have a 3-sided broadside, but 3-inch guns. We can actually just kind of pelt these things at range. If we get so lucky as to get a few hits. We're limited to 26 knots according to the weather report, basically. So let's put everyone down to 30. I don't know if this makes a difference, but we essentially won't overwork the engines. Okay, now let's see if we can get these 5-inch guns to land. That's the real question now. Nighttime, by the way, it is closing in on nighttime. How close? Well, not much time. Shouldn't matter. I mean, it would be nice to get a kill, though. Now they're coming in, but all these things should be functions. All the accuracy should be functions of. It's not gonna hit. I think they're turning the other way even. Can we fire at this one? Yeah, actually we prefer to do that. Fire into the middle one. That way, no matter what they're doing, turning whichever way, we can hopefully catch them. You might want to fire into the last one. Yeah. Okay, well, we have a ton of torpedoes. There's just no cost for using them, right? The only thing which might be a penalty for us is if we somehow eventually realize we're not alone. I mean, that there are other like light cruisers or something on this in this map. That's a pretty weird angle for this. We'll fire one, why not? But I'm not going to even fire the other one. Wow, that's a lot of torpedoes. Do a change of direction. They should be changing direction. We should be hitting them soon. It's a lot of torpedoes. Let's slow down and see what happens. We finally landed our first hit. It is a 5-inch hit. No, false. No hits. Aha! We really got one of them. Let's make sure that we focus on this one then. Bring them down. Can we launch torpedoes with the swivel mounts? Oh, we've actually... Oh. No solution. Okay. Let's turn these guys around. The Amen, we're going to try to keep her on a straight line so she continues to hit. Okay, the hits are over. Let's swing back. We do want to get on the east side of them because that's the better side, wind-wise. And they're definitely trying to close in. They're turning. They're in line abreast, which is interesting. Warrington, that's 4-inch guns. But yeah, I mean, we're doing damage and not receiving any. Now, wind-wise, we should be at an advantage. Looks like 2 of their ships are slow. Okay, we will be able to come up on them eventually. Let's make sure we're leading with our lighter destroyers. And, you know, we put them in between our escort ships and the ships we're trying to escort, I mean. Our transport ships. Not necessarily a good decision, but... Hey, we'll launch a few torpedoes. See, they know. They know when there's torpedoes. It's always been a frustration of several people that the AI reacts to torpedoes. They can see them somehow. It's unknown why. And it's, you know, it might only kind of be true because there's obviously the fact that you hit the AI ships at all. And why do you hit them at all? You know. Okay, let's do this. Head this one off. Even in the really poor weather, which is coming. We should be able to sink this one. So we get one for sure. And then at least the bigger ships will know where to find my other guys. As long as we stay close, which we are. Really close, my god. Sighted an unknown ship. That was very scary, but it's just the one we expected to be there. And the Cummings, oh, main gun crew's gunned down by a superstructure hit. Well, we're still hitting them more than they're hitting us. Gonna have to kind of focus on 2 things at the same time here, which I'm not going to be able to do. Come on, guys. Launching torpedoes. Interesting. We don't need to launch torpedoes at destroyers, but okay. Just our luck, of course, that... Oh my god. Okay, this thing is going down. Let's just get out of here. The bulk is actually taking pretty significant damage, which is frustrating. Let's go down cruise. Just pull back. I assume that those torpedoes will hit. No! What the heck? How did she know? Amazing. Very uncanny intuition about when we're going to launch at her. So let's maybe speed up. God, the weather got better. I'm going to assume that first one is sunk, because I lost her anyway. Okay, looks like we lost all of them. Let's just return to the ships we want to escort. You know what? We can do that at cruise speed, at the highest game speed. Can I get it? Can I get it? Got it. Got it. Alright. 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 Got it. Kinda, you don't click where the flag is, you kinda click where it's gonna be. Okay, very good. So weird. We actually took as much damage as they did. That's bizarre. But, oh well, just forget about it. If it's not a sunk ship, that's what, of course, we're going for, is sunk ships, but what can you do about it anyway? So, a pretty disappointing start to the war. It's not a bad thing. It wasn't a bad start. It's technically still a good start, but just not a bit disappointing, yeah. But we'll wrap this episode up here. We're at war with Germany. This should lead to, hopefully, some good fleet fights. In order to get that to happen, basically, let's just take a look at where they are. Yeah, they're not there. They are somewhat here. So what we'll do is we'll just move our fleet. We can always move our fleet into Northern Europe. And I think we can expect some big fleet battles there. But they still have some battlecruiser and light cruiser here. So I'll probably have to split up my forces accordingly. Something like 2 of you move to the east coast. And all my east coast ships are going to move out. Which ones do we want to bring? New Havens are still reasonable, but let's bring the big boys. And we need a light cruiser to go with us as well. That should be, well, it's going to have to be the Great Lakes. That's a lot of ships moving out to Northern Europe. We'll see how this goes in the next episode. Until then, thanks for watching and take care.